Freestyle travel. All right, everybody. It's going to be a good one. This episode's about spending money. Part one of a multi-part travel finance series. The next one will be about making money. We'll do one about handling money. You know, just ATM cards, credit cards, PayPal, Bitcoin, not carrying $2,000 and getting mugged. All kinds of money stuff, because people love their money. And yeah, it's not super important. Sometimes it is. That's what all these travel finance things are going to be about. So spending money. Yeah, this one I've actually got India Jane from the last episode. If you listen to that, the interview with her, she sat down with me at the farm and we just knocked out that episode just to get both of our perspectives on that. It's pretty good, actually. I liked it. I like doing that. So yeah, but about a week has gone by since then, since the last episode, and caught you up. So I am in India now. Not to be confused with India, India Jane. I'm in the country of India. Just got here a few days ago, so it's been really, really strange the last few days. Let me just catch up. So we left the farm, walked a couple hours to this other town. It's real nice, through the hills, through the mountains, kind of. Some family kind of waved at us, took us in sort of for an hour, fed us, got us a bunch of water. All the kids spoke English and played India Jane's guitar. Yeah, it was just kind of a fun little thing that happened on the way. Then we stayed with a couch surfer for a couple nights there. Pretty nice. He was there the first night. The next night it was just his wife. We both kind of felt bad because she cooked us some pretty good food, but especially that second night, she cooked us this big meal and then she just took off. She didn't even eat any herself. Yeah, both nights they were just gone. They left us with it was one little room with like a little stove and bed and stuff, but I don't know where they slept. But anyways, so we hitchhiked from there to Kathmandu. Just one ride, one truck driver, 6-hour ride. Just because of traffic. I'm sure if the roads were perfect, which I guess they will be in a couple years here. The roads were really bad in Nepal. They're just tearing them up. That same drive would be less than an hour, maybe like closer to 40 minutes or something. But on that particular day, 6 hours. So anyways, we got to Kathmandu, and that's the last I saw India Jane. She went her own way to stay with a couch surfing host, and she's going to be hanging out in Kathmandu for a little bit, taking care of her India visa. And I went to Kishore's for one last night. It's my buddy who owns the farm. And yeah, then I ended up getting on a bus to the border because I had about $15, the equivalent left of Nepali money. And usually when I have less than $20 left of a currency, try to burn it up because you can't always change it in the lower bills. I guess in this case it wouldn't have mattered, but that was kind of my mindset. Hadn't been spending money lately because we're on the farm and we're kind of eating and living for free. And even when we were couch surfing, they cooked us up some meals and stuff. So I thought I would have spent that money already, but I didn't. So yeah, $5 of it went to this 12-hour bus ride, which is pretty good. And I caught the night bus, which was perfect. So I just rolled up to the India border like first thing in the morning. And then I pretty much had all day to aim for Lucknow, which is a much bigger city than I thought it would be. So got there after hitching a bunch of rides, one train ride thrown in the mix. It was kind of like Thailand. Everybody who was picking me up was dropping me off at little bus stations or bus depots or wanting to. And one dude actually took me to the train station and like got the train ticket and physically walked me onto the train. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Short train ride, but had to walk through that little city. Ended up getting to Lucknow pretty late. These guys dropped me off on the edge of the city, which I thought was going to suck. But they were feeding me whiskey the whole time, which was great. Then I ended up getting like a short cab ride. It was just, I was walking on the highway and the cab pulled over and he's like, it's not good. So he just drove me like for a few minutes to get me off the highway. Didn't charge me anything, just thought I was crazy. And then these other guys, I didn't have my thumb out or anything. I'm just like, all right, it's going to be a walk. They scooped me up and they just kept giving me shots of vodka and took me closer to the to the center of the city. It's like, all right, sweet. And I was aiming for the center of the city because I had marked, I looked for a couch surfer, but I didn't really put any energy into it. So I didn't find one. But I found a hotel that, at least online, looked like it was $2 for a night. I'm like, all right, I can swing that if I show up late. And I showed up late. So I looked for that place, knocked on the door, but no one answered. I think it was just late. And then I found out that a lot of the hotels around there don't uh, don't host foreigners for whatever reason. Some of them are just saying they're full, but I found out that there's some kind of weird law where they can only have guests from India. So that was a big rigmarole going around. I almost caught a train. People were sleeping everywhere, like everywhere, just bodies all over. Like I said, it was a much bigger city than I thought, but I ended up finding a place that I could lay my head down for the night. And then the next day, I was aiming for Nagpur, which is where I am now, but how I got here has been pretty strange. I figured it would take 2 days, and that's how long it took. But that first day, yeah, I had to walk through the city, hitch some rides, got some rides in some trucks, some motorbikes, met some cool people actually. One guy took me for some juice, some sugar cane ground up, got me some juice, a little snack. He was super cool. Took my picture, added me on Facebook on the spot. People were really into that, taking selfies and stuff. All throughout Asia, it's been like that. But yeah, and then it started to get a little stranger. Eventually, I got this. Well, I was walking actually. I had just gotten a ride from a truck, and then this one guy on a motorbike came over, and he's trying to like help me, and I don't know, like just ask where I'm going. And then someone sees that and comes over, and then a third person comes over, and then a fourth person is curious coming over. And next thing I know, there's literally 12 or 13 dudes surrounding me, all with their piece of advice. And one guy's taking my marker and writing down like a different name on my sign and asking me questions. They're like, oh, there's a hotel over here if it gets dark, kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to keep walking, because got to get a ride. But then right then, like one of the buddies, like one of the guy's buddies was a truck driver driving by, so he flagged him down. And so I hop into this guy's truck. Don't know where he's going, but we're on the right road. Finally, he drops me off, and it's dark, and I'm in this little village kind of place. Excuse me. And then I'm walking through this village, and this guy gives me a really short ride, like a minute on a motorbike. And then I'm walking, and a few minutes later, this other guy comes up to me, and he's just asking me where I'm from and this and that. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden, the original guy comes back, and then again, there's like a whole crew of 6 or 7. These guys all younger than me, walking along, and they ended up getting me some food and some water and forcing me basically to get on this taxi kind of bike thing to the next town. And they're like, yeah, you can't really camp around here. That's not safe, but we'll pay for this taxi thing. It'll take you 20, 30 minutes to the next town to a railway station. And that's a place where you can sleep safely. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I got over there, and I'm like, no, this is not my scene. So I walked right back to the road and started walking. I don't like sleeping out in public like that. I like to get hidden when I kind of camp around cities. So I'm walking and thinking I'm going to break away from the town here pretty soon. It's starting to get a little like less residential and maybe getting into some trees. But then another group of people calls me over. So I go and sit down, and they give me a cold drink, a Mountain Dew or something, and asking what my story is. And I told them, hitchhiking. Why are you hitchhiking? Why not a bus or a train? So I'm like, I don't have a lot of money. Like, this is just how I like to travel. Use my money for food and things like that. And they're like, no, you can't walk over there. You can't camp there. It's not safe. There's stray dogs, and there's ghosts. They said there's ghosts out there, and then they said there's thieves. And I might have taken the thieves thing a little more seriously if they didn't lead off with ghosts and stray dogs. I kind of get people are afraid of dogs, and they bark at me sometimes, so whatever. They're dogs. But ghosts, yeah, I don't know. So they're like, no, you got to go to the train station and tell them you have no money, and they'll give you a ticket all the way to Nagpur, where you're going, the big city. I'm like, I don't know about that. It sounds sketchy. Like, not like sketchy like they're up to something, but sketchy like it just, I don't know if that's gonna work, and it might be a waste of time. And I was pretty friggin' tired at that point. So they're going back and forth, and it's almost like an argument. And I'm just like, listen, I'm gonna keep walking. So I keep walking, and one dude just follows me, and he's like trying to talk me out of it. And I keep walking, and another dude pulls up on a motorbike, and he's trying to talk me out of it, and I'm still walking. And finally, the friggin' police roll up, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So they come up, and then they're telling me, like the sort of the ringleader dude. He's like, "CC, if the police tell you, you'll believe." I'm like, all right. So yeah, the police told me the same thing. They're like, yeah, you should go to the train station. And I'm like, all right, well, you're basically forcing me at this point, so let's do it. So hop on the motorbike, cruise over to the train station. They talk to the railway master, I don't know, the chief, someone, and talk him into it. But it's not a direct train. Like, I guess like you got to get on this train in a couple hours, and it'll take 2 or 3 hours to get to this other train station, and then from there it's like a direct 12-hour shot to where you're going. So I'm like, all right. So they all take off, and I'm just with the railway master guy, and he's giving me tea and biscuits, and I'm just hanging out, tired, nodding off a little bit, and finally a train rolls up, and they're like, all right, that's you. And they said they had called ahead to this other train station, so they would know the deal. And they're like, go to the train master there, and he'll point you on to the next train. So I'm like, all right. So I hop on. I kind of catch some Z's on that train. Barely came to and got off at the right station. But this station the junction station was massive. Like this first station I'm at was just like a little station, you know? But this one is like many, many tracks, all super long. There's hundreds. There's probably more than 1,000 people. I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of people everywhere, like laying out, whatever. This is like 4 in the morning, something like that. It's busy as hell. And I'm like, all right, station master, let's do this. So I finally find an office looking thing that looks sort of official. And I go in there and I'm talking to the dude. I'm like, hey, did someone call ahead about me losing my wallet? Oh, that was the other thing. The little scam, I guess, for me. Like, you can't just say that you don't have a lot of money. You got to say that your wallet got stolen. So that's how I was operating at this point with this scammy little situation, which is exactly what I did not want to be involved in. But anyways, I go to this chief dude. I'm like, did someone call ahead about me and my lost wallet? I'm the guy with the lost wallet, and I guess I can get a free ride to the city I'm going to. And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's a ticket window over there. You can pay for a ticket. I'm paraphrasing because English was not amazing, but that's when I realized, oh, I'm just screwed here. It's on my own at this point. There's no magic. I gotta just do my own thing. So I just decided like I could wait for the sun to come up and hitchhike from here, which is now further than where I was, and I'm super extra tired. Or I can just go classic and just hop on the train and see what happens. So that's what I did. Found the train that was going all the way to Nagpur, which I think I'm pronouncing okay, maybe. It's the city I'm in now. And yeah, I just picked the crappiest looking car. They had air conditioning ones and sleeper cars, and then there's like this general class one where people are crammed in. I'm like, all right, that's my go. So I jumped on there, and yeah, 12 hours later, nobody checked, and it was crammed in there. Like, I got in there and I thought it was crammed. I kind of like sat in the vestibule, and then a whole lot of people piled in there, like to the point where I'm just like leaning on the corner of my right foot, like using like all my muscles just to stay afloat, not topple over people. And yeah, every single stop there'd be people shuffling in and out and just being a different contortion. Finally got something like a seat. But yeah, I think it's just chaos in there. There's no way a station person could come in there and check tickets. It'd be madness. So yeah, 12 hours, a pretty friggin' long ride for a free ride. Yeah, so it was a long story, but it's been a long week. So, but I'm here, and I had a couch surfing host here. He just ran out, do some stuff, so took advantage of this time to record this little episode. Yeah. So let's jump into the main meat of the episode. Now you listen to me ramble on about what's going on here in India. Yeah, like I said, this is going to be part one of like travel finance kind of stuff. And I wanted to start with spending money because I think it's the most important. Because if you know what you're actually needing money for, it's better than to get caught up on making money when you don't even know what you're making it for. Well, I think a lot of people do that in life in general. Try to find a job that makes a ton of money and then kind of lose sight of what it was that they like doing, whether it's baking donuts or making robots or playing the guitar or whatever. Somewhere along the way, a lot of people get lost. They might get found again, might find something different. But my point is that you should focus on what you might actually need money or anything for before just trying to make a ton of it. So it made sense to me to record this one first. And yeah, it's pretty cool to have India Jane in there too, with her 2 cents, talking about what she spends money on the road. So hope you enjoy it. And let's hear from me in India. Okay, we're recording from the deck again in Nepal at my friend's farm. I'm with India Jane.
Hello, everybody.
And we're going to be talking about spending money while traveling. This is kind of the main important thing. I think it's more important than making money, because if you understand all the ways you can get away without needing money, then you obviously don't need to make that much of it. So I guess the first thing, there's a bunch of different little topics like transportation, accommodation, food, and other things. But I wanted to start with loans as the first one, because that's one that a lot of you might not have at all, which is a good thing. And if you don't have loans, that's awesome. Personally, I have student loans, which are soul crushing and easily my biggest expense. I think right now it's about $350 a month that I got to cough up, which is pretty insane. And I know there's probably a lot of people out there that might still be making car payments or other stuff that you can't just walk away from. For me personally, I have my parents co-signed on my loan, so if I were to walk away from it, they'd kind of get screwed, so it's basically impossible for me to do. But if you've got loans and you're the only one on it, maybe you can make that choice to just walk away from it, and your credit will be all screwed up and you won't be able to buy stuff you can't afford. That's about it. Do you have any loans?
Nope, just my phone bill.
Sweet. All right, well, that's loans. I guess we can jump to phone bill. Phone bills, like a lot of people will have that. And you have your phone bill like active right now, right?
I do, yeah, even though I can't use my phone. Not ideal.
Yeah, that's like a contract situation?
Yeah, so it expires, I think, in July, but until then I'm tied in.
Okay. Yeah, usually when I'm up until now, when I've been out of the United States, I've stopped my phone bill, or when I've been on a contract, I had Verizon, and they'll let you do something like just called vacation pausing it or something like that. And you can kind of just pause your bill for 3 to 6 months, something like that, which is a pretty good idea if you don't want to be paying all that money for something you can't be using overseas. And when you're overseas, Wi-Fi is pretty prevalent in most countries, so it's easy just to jump from place to place and go without internet for a little while, but then get on there with Wi-Fi. I guess this would also be a good time to mention my phone service that I have now is Project Fi. I've told you about Project Fi.
Sounds pretty neat.
Which, oddly enough, it works in 135 countries, but Nepal is not one of them. So it's pretty rare. I think this is the only country I've been to or will be going to in the near future that doesn't have service. But Project Fi is Google's phone service, and it works. Yeah, like I said, in all those countries, it's $20 a month for unlimited calls and texts, and it's truly a global plan. So there's no more cost if I'm in the United States or in India or Thailand or Australia or France, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still $20 a month, and I can do all those things, and $10 per gigabyte prorated. So I'm trying to get used to that. It's cheaper than my old phone, and it works everywhere. That's cool. And I should mention I have a referral code for that. So if anyone else wants to try it, you can look into it a little bit more. But if you use my code TDW3EE, then you get $20 off your second bill, and I get $20 off too, so that's a win. So yeah, that's a monthly expense, and the good thing about phone service when you're not on a contract is that you can just not pay it. Like, you can just pause it or cancel it. It's not like a fixed cost. Like, yeah, you want to... It's our friend the cow. But yeah, it's one of those expenses that you can like take it or leave it. Um, so I guess the next thing to jump to would be food, because that's another expense that's not fixed. You can kind of just eat based on how much money you have. Like, yeah, you can spend like $30 a meal, or you can spend $30 a month. It's really up to you. What were you spending in Tahoe?
I'd say I was averaging $6 or $7 a week when I was not eating out, eating on my own.
And what were you eating?
Whatever was cheap at the time, nutritious and cheap, I'd look for.
Yeah.
The cheapest fruit that was going, and lots of oatmeal. Buy oatmeal in bulk and chow down on it. Powdered peanut butter is pretty good, pretty cheap.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Rice is always cheap.
And you didn't cook a lot either, huh?
I didn't know. So I was living in a truck, and I figured out if you soak most foods, including lentils and oats, overnight, or sometimes for a few days with beans, they're good to eat. They sprout, they become alive, and super healthy.
Yeah, just not hot.
Just not hot.
Still good. Yeah, food is one of the cheaper things everywhere. Kind of like it can be super expensive. Obviously, you can find a $30 meal almost anywhere.
Yeah,
But
can be cheap and it can be expensive.
yeah, it can be kind of hard to get away from. In the U.S., you're also a Taco Bell lover.
Yeah.
Taco Bell is pretty good. Then you're spending more like $3 a meal. Here's us talking about eating him. But yeah, so food, it's obviously an expense that you're gonna have, but food is also one of those. It's one of the easiest things in the world to be free. It's like the easiest thing for anyone to gift somebody else. So a lot of times hitchhiking, you'll get picked up by someone who asks when the last time you ate was, and they'll sometimes gladly get you a meal. Fast food or something. I've had people take me to buffets even. Have you had people offer you food hitchhiking?
A little bit. I mean, not so much taking me out for meals, but if they have some food with them, I've been given cereal bars and fruit and whatnot.
Yeah. And then couch surfing, sometimes you're cooking for people, but sometimes they're cooking for you. That kind of thing. So, and in the United States, you have no excuse to starve. I mean, there's always soup kitchens and stuff too in almost every major city, giving away free food. And I don't know. I don't do that too often unless I just like come across it, like go to a park and all of a sudden someone's passing out free turkey sandwiches. I'll get in line for that for sure. But a lot of countries, there's no reason to starve, and in countries in Asia, at least Southeast Asia, food is relatively cheap. You can always eat for about $1, maybe $2. So
$1 for a big meal to fill you up.
yeah. So another big expense in the line of food is beer. That's not going to be for everybody, but if you like good beer like I do, it can add up a little bit. When I'm really like on a good beer kick, like I won't load up on like things like PBR, but I'll drink some good craft beers. So I save a lot of money when I'm in countries like this, like Nepal, where it's just the beer ranges from awful to drinkable. But that can add up for a lot of people. That will be their main expense if you don't have loans, and it's way easy to spend more money on beer than food. Even here in Nepal, like a bunch of the meals that we've had to get on our own, it's kind of funny. We've just been eating for free quite a bit, but yeah, we'll go out and spend like a dollar or two on food, and then easily, get a couple beers for $4, $5, something like that. Mm-hmm. Alcohol, depending on where you're at, can be double, and then it's easy to go out and spend more. I guess you were talking earlier that the most money you spent is in social. It's really moving a lot.
He's trying to join in.
Yeah, eat me. You were saying social situations, or
right, which I guess comes with beer often. But yeah, for me that was definitely my main expense when hanging out with friends if they wanted to get some food or buy some beer or go out somewhere. That was what I was spending most of my money on. That is still probably my biggest expense.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like when you're couch surfing or staying with someone, and you get to their house and immediately they want to go out and do something. Especially if you're hungry too, it's a little bit easier if you just ate earlier to be like, oh no, let's go out, and maybe get a drink, but not get the you know, $8 thing of food, which is the cheapest thing.
Yeah.
um, you don't want to tell them like, that's what I spend in a week.
On one meal, yeah.
Yeah. And then you get like,
Sometimes it's worth it just to bite the bullet and have good company and have a good time.
yeah, that's kind of a good reason to spend only the
Yeah.
$6 or $7 a week when you're by yourself, just to kind of keep yourself fed, but then
Right.
be able to sort of splurge when,
Have the money to make good memories.
yeah. And other stuff too. I've noticed like people want to go see a movie, or they really want to
Right.
go see some pyramid or something a little touristy, which is sometimes really cool, and sometimes you're just kind of doing it
Right.
to go with the
Definitely.
flow. But you get dinged with these little $7, $15 entry fee things, and it adds up for
It
sure.
does, and it's hard for. I get asked as soon as I meet anyone. I told them I've been on the road for a while. They say, "How can you afford it?"
Yeah.
So it's hard for people who are used to, not having to save every penny and spending all the time. It's hard for them to really like get the concept.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
$15. Like that's a week.
Yeah. It's like the hiking we've been wanting to do. People are like, yeah, it's just 40 or $50 for the permits, and then you're
Right.
you're golden. And then you can get away with spending like just a few hundred on accommodation and stuff. Like what
Yeah.
the? Jeez. Yeah, it's still unreal to me to pay that much just to go
Go for a
hiking,
walk.
go for a walk.
Should be free.
Yeah, uh, I don't know. All that kind of adds up. Um, yes, yeah, accommodation. Just kind of mentioned that a little bit. Uh, that's not too expensive. Like,
Especially couch surfing.
yeah, yeah, like couch surf. I couch surf mostly and camp, and
Yeah.
you mostly couch surf, and
Yeah. Meeting people. Give you a place to stay always helps.
yeah. Even right now, from where we're recording this, we're staying with a friend of mine's family at his farm, and yeah, we're staying for free, eating for free while we're here. Keep offering to help out, but not much to be done. Um, but yeah, it does happen once in a while where you do got to stay in a hostel or even like a hotel if that's the only option. If it's could be the weather or just lack of places to camp. Um, Not thinking ahead to find a couch surfer. That's always tricky for me because kind of a little too spontaneous sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, well,
Yeah, what he said.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know, hostels range anywhere from. Oh, you saying Kathmandu is like $1.50 for a
Yeah, I
bed?
think that was the cheapest.
That's pretty good. That's maybe the cheapest I've heard. In Cambodia, some guy it was full. He's like, you can sleep on the hammock for $1.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's Asia, and usually it'll be more like $3 or $4 or $5.
Yeah, I'd say Europe's usually about $5.
Europe,
Yeah.
$5. And
Well, it depends where. Western
yeah,
Europe, maybe more.
yeah. The United States, good luck.
Yeah, it gets up to $20, $30.
Yeah, yeah. And that's in places where there are hostels.
Yeah.
Some hostels will be way more than that. And the cheapest hotels, I mean, usually like if I see something for less than like $40, I'm like, whoa,
Right.
it's on the cheap side of things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely tricky in countries like that. But the good thing about most of the United States too is it's easier to camp than it seems to be in a lot of places in Asia. It just seems like all the usable land is used in a way.
Yeah. All private owned.
Yeah, so whereas in the US there's a lot of unused land, whether it's right on the side of the highways, there's trees and stuff, and I don't know, it seems kind of easier sometimes near cities and towns. But yeah, so that's a decent expense, but maybe not the biggest.
No,
Just
especially if
because,
you're not doing it too often. Maybe
yeah,
once in a while. It's a necessity, but
easier to avoid. I guess the next category would be transportation, which we both hitchhike when we can,
yeah.
which is free. Um, but once in a while, you take some buses, airplanes, obviously, to get overseas. Although you can boat hitchhike, which is an option. I would definitely look into that. And if that sparked your interest at all, when I said that, like, give it a look. Look at websites like findacrew.net. There's people cruising all over the place. If you're in the right place at the right time, meet the right person, have the right attitude, all those things come together. You can work it out. I've come pretty close before. Have you any experience with boats?
No, no, not yet.
It seems like it'd be an awesome thing to do.
Something I'd like to look into.
Yeah, but yeah, people do it, and sometimes you can even get paid, like to be a chef on some of the nicer boats.
Yeah.
So that's one way to avoid airline costs. But I think the most money I've ever spent in 1 year on plane tickets is about $1,800, and that was for a lot of tickets, like U.S. to New Zealand, New Zealand, Australia, Australia to Asia, eventually Asia to Europe, Europe back to the U.S. I think all that added up. So I think it'd be pretty hard to spend much more than like a couple $1,000s on plane tickets unless you're just like really jumpy.
It's definitely cheaper the slower you go, the cheaper it is. Less buses, less planes.
Yeah, dig in and enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, Situations where I would take a bus be if it's like exceptionally cheap, like took a bus or a microbus, like a van from Kathmandu to here, and it was like a 2 or 3 hour ride, and it was the equivalent of $1.10, $1.08, something like that. So it's hard to say no to that, especially when hitchhiking could potentially be a little bit more tricky. Um, but I don't know. I usually won't take. Definitely in the U.S., I try to avoid it. They're a lot more expensive there. Europe
Yeah.
too.
Were you talking about those megabus
Well, yeah,
deals?
Megabus is good. If you're in the United States, either on the East Coast, they've got a pretty good system. Look at like I think just megabus.com, and you can find tickets for $1 or even cheaper to places like it's fairly limited, but it's growing all the time. Like New York to Boston, New York to Philly or DC, even New York to Pittsburgh, and then in the Midwest, there's kind of like Indianapolis to Chicago. It runs in a few cities in Texas, and they expanded to the West at one point. So they go like LA to Vegas, LA to San Francisco, San Francisco, I think all the way through Sacramento to Reno, routes like that. And you can, especially if you book ahead of time, you can get tickets for $1. And sometimes you can't find the dollar tickets, but you find a $5 ticket. And, for a 10-hour bus ride, $5 isn't way too bad. So there's that. But yeah, that won't add up too much if you're hitchhiking by default, because you'll pretty much only be taking buses when they're super cheap or in kind of, I don't know, if you're in a super hurry, maybe you got some money kicking around. Um, and then public transit is the other side of that, which I'll do a little bit more often if it's cheaper and easier, because I really like to walk. You like to walk too.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a necessity though in really big cities and
Yeah. But yeah, as far as walking, like as long as there's no one waiting on me, like a 1 or 2 hour walk, I don't even think about it. I just go and start walking. That's not too bad. What's your kind of range of?
yeah, I'd say about the same as long as I'm not expected somewhere and have
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's a good way to see the cities though. I find just like walking around everywhere, taking my time. And,
Yeah, it's kind of the whole point of traveling and moving around is to see the different things, and
right.
you kind of get insulated by planes and buses and other things and just
Yeah.
cruise through. So it's nice to really feel the transition neighborhood to neighborhood, and yeah, saves a little bit of money. But when a public bus is only like $1 or $2 and it's gonna save you like 4 hours of walking or something, especially if there's someone on the other end waiting for you, whether it's a host or someone else, like yeah, do that. And I'll use it for hitchhiking too. You said you hitchhiked out of New York and you took a train.
I did. Took a train.
Do you remember what train it was or how much it cost?
I really couldn't remember. I know it was going a long way, went all the way down to Maryland, but I got off next stop out of
Oh wow,
New York.
I'm not sure what train that was. It wasn't like an Amtrak or something, was it?
No. I really don't know.
Yeah,
It's a while back. Could have been.
yeah. But it's a good strategy to use public transportation while hitchhiking. I've done it in Vegas. Like in Vegas, I know my spot out by the raceway, and there's a bus. I think it's less than $2, but yeah, it's better than trying to hitchhike from the strip. You might get yelled at by police, or I don't know. It's a little hectic there. People aren't going far. And in mega cities like London, where you're from, that place
Yeah.
is crazy. So,
Yeah, that would be tough to get out of.
yeah. So find yourself the cheapest public transit option possible, and yeah, so that's not a huge expense in the grand scheme of things. $1 here, $2 there, but everything kind of adds up. Um, Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else to spend money on. Other little things. Those are definitely the major ones. Um,
Sometimes gear. You gotta buy some
yep.
new stuff or prepare
Yeah.
for any season.
Yeah, that's true. I try to stay ready for all seasons at all times
Yep.
if possible, but definitely a gear nerd for sure at times. So yeah, it's kind of nice making your own gear if you can get into that. Find someone who knows how to sew and learn a little bit about that. Because I don't know. Obviously I made the backpack that some of you have heard of. Turns into a tent. Yeah,
It's
cow.
pretty cool, eh?
Cow wants a cow pack. Right. But just in doing that, I've got just the basic skills, so I can make something like a wallet really quickly, or if I have an idea for, I don't know, like a little stuff sack or something more complicated, like a hammock that turns into a sleeping bag and a jacket, I can kind of fool around and do that if I have the time. Uh, but yeah, even if you don't make your own gear, you're gonna have to maybe replace things after a while. Your backpack goes to hell, or your jacket gets a bunch of rips in it that you can't repair, or if you just like want to get something that's lighter than what you already have, cooking pot or whatever. What's the last piece of gear that you got?
New t-shirt a few days ago.
New T-shirt.
It's time to add some color.
Yeah, Jane wears all black, pretty much, and now green.
Got a green t-shirt.
So yeah, once in a while you have to do stuff like that, and and then kind of in line with the social situation. Sometimes it's not so much social pressure, but there's I don't know, a festival or something you want to go to, or some museum with some artists that you just want to see like really badly, or all kinds of things. When's the last time you went to a festival? Well, you
Festival, yeah, a few months ago. Got
yeah.
a, got a.
Did you get in for free or
I
did
did,
you?
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Not quite the same.
yeah, most festivals I've gone to, I've just volunteered and got a free ticket. Yeah, there's usually usually a free way. And actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of MC Escher. Have you heard of MC Escher?
Don't think so.
He's this artist. He used to do like these drawings of like staircases that kept
Oh yeah,
going, like or waterfalls that would fall into a river that would flow back into itself around into the
yeah.
waterfall into itself.
It's
Like,
like depth perception.
yeah, really cool. And I used to like him as a kid. And then I was in Edinburgh, and I walked by a sign that said he had a exhibition going on, like this week only or something. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go check it out, and hopefully it's like free or cheap. And then I got there, and there's like a ticket booth, and they wanted like 15 or $20 or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like this dude, but I don't know if I want to part with that. So I'm like, maybe I'll just go and see if they have like a few drawings like
Hmm.
up front, that I can see. So I just walked past and then in, and then I'm like, oh, they do have some. That's cool. And then I kept walking around, and I'm like, they have a lot that you can just see for free. And I'm like, I'm in here. I just like,
Convenient.
yeah, I just unintentionally, like, confidently walked past like security and ticket holders and everybody, and I was just in there. So you can do that to save a little money too, purposely or unintentionally. Yeah, so you always have expenses like that. Not much more. It's funny. People always say how it's so expensive to travel, and like, how can you afford to do this? You must be a millionaire, or trust fund baby, or something, or what's your secret job or your stash? And it's actually the opposite. It's way cheaper to travel than to live in one place.
It really is. I have friends back in London who will go out and spend like, I don't know, close to $100 in a night out.
Oh,
I'm
easy.
like,
Yeah.
oh no, that'll be a couple months for me.
Yeah. And then just normal expenses like rent and internet and gas and phone, like hardwired phone maybe, like parking maybe, having a car,
Yeah.
gas, mortgages, like all of these bills, or most of them, just disappear when you start traveling.
Yep.
So instead of rent, you have the odd hostel that you may or may not stay in. Like, instead of paying for public transit or your car and gas payments to get to work every day, you have the random time where you have to take a bus because hitchhiking is not going to work. Uh, so it's much cheaper. Over the last like 10 years, I've spent as little as maybe $2,000 in a year, and I think the most has been around $6,000 one Super Baller year. uh, Whereas when I lived in New York, I was shelling out, I think, about $2,000 a month for
Wow.
all the bills and stuff I had. Like, yeah, student loans and rent and this and that. So I'll kind of add it up. So yeah, it's definitely a lot cheaper to travel. So don't let anyone or don't let yourself talk yourself into thinking, how can I afford to do this? Because it's cheap. Um, there are a couple other little things that I pay for. I guess are worth mentioning just to be
Complete.
complete. Like yeah, I pay. I've got a few websites. I've got this podcast. So I pay, I don't know, domain names like freestyletravelshow.com cost about 10 or $15 every year to re-up. So it's not a ton of money, but it's worth mentioning. This podcast, the hosting is close to a little less than $200 every year. I did the Kickstarter to raise the money for that from some of y'all listening. So thanks again for that. And I don't know, I pay for, I was telling you about Google Drive. I got you hooked on Google Photos
Yeah,
a little bit.
useful.
But Google Drive, it's basically like online backup storage, and they give you like 15 gigabytes for free. But I've got like a ton of old videos and old music and lots of files. So I actually pay $2 a month so I can have like 100 gigabytes, and that covers me. So yeah, little expenses like that, but I think that about covers it. Everything else will be like random incidental stuff that you just run into in everyday life, so not really specific to traveling. Yeah, that covers it, eh?
I think so.
All right, there you go. That's spending money on the road. Cheers, all. Cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, there will be more of these travel finance episodes to come. Yeah, not consecutively probably, but over time, I'll pop out the next one and the one after that. Should be cool. If you want to message me for any reason, questions, comments, suggestions on episodes, whatever, you can email freestyletravelshow@gmail.com. Also on Facebook, Freestyle Travel Show. You can get some updates or reach out on Twitter. It's just Free Travel Show. And other than that, you can just, go to hobolifestyle.com and check out all the stuff I've been doing over the years. The most recent blog post I have there is, like all of them, there's about a 2-year lag on those posts. I try to post a few a month at least. But yeah, that last story is about hitchhiking and bussing up through Ecuador and Colombia after getting mugged, kind of reuniting with this girl I'd been with for a year and then broke up with, and it just kind of worked out for us to travel up there together for this last little bit. So yeah, you can read about that, or you can read about how I got mugged just shortly before that. And yeah, you can also see Hobo Lifestyle, which is my personal stuff, all over. Like, it's just Hobo Lifestyle on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. Yep, that's it. I'm excited to dig into India and eat the spiciest foods that I possibly can and enjoy this place. I'm finally able to relax after a few days on the road getting here. Should be enjoyable. And all you guys, I'll see you down the road in the next episode. With all my shit straight, I'll get my big break.